You know that feeling, right? That frustration? You spend good money on some chemical rooting hormone, you follow all the instructions to the letter, and still, your precious cuttings just rot. They turn black from the bottom up. It's so disheartening. But what if I told you the answer isn't in some expensive bottle from the store, but it's probably growing right there in your garden? Yep, today we're diving into the science behind an almost foolproof, totally natural rooting secret, aloe vera.
Okay, let's just look at the difference here. I mean, on the one side, you've got this story we all know way too well. Black, slimy, failed cuttings. That's what you often get with those harsh chemical hormones. But then, look at the other side. With just a little bit of aloe vera gel, you get this explosion of beautiful, healthy white roots. The difference is just, wow, it's staggering. And this isn't luck, it's all about biology. So it really makes you wonder, how in the world does a simple plant pull off what these expensive chemicals just can't seem to do?
And yeah, that's really the big question we're going to tackle today. Why does this happen? Why do these synthetic products, which are supposed to do one job, fail so often while a simple, humble aloe leaf just knocks it out of the park? Well, the answer really comes down to a basic misunderstanding on what a fresh cutting actually needs to survive.
All right, Section 1, Nature's secret weapon, the biological bandage. So here's how you got to think about it. A fresh cutting is basically an open wound. The second you make that snip, it's fighting a war on two fronts. You've got this army of fungi and bacteria from the outside trying to invade, and at the same time, from the inside, it's just bleeding out moisture, dehydrating like crazy. It has to fight both of those threats at the exact same time.
And this is where the aloe comes in with its first secret weapon, a biological shield. The gel itself forms this natural seal right over that cut. It's like a perfect little waterproof bandage. What it does is it locks all that precious moisture inside the stem, and at the same time, it puts up a wall blocking all those nasty fungi and bacteria from getting in.
But it's not just a passive wall, okay? This is where it gets really cool. Aloe's second weapon is an active defense system. See, the gel is just packed with natural stuff that fights off microbes and fungus, things like salicylic acid. And this is a total game changer because it's actively fighting the #1 enemy of cuttings, root rot, especially that notorious Fusarium fungus. Your average chemical rooting hormone, it just doesn't have this kind of built-in protection.
And then, finally, we get to the part everyone's waiting for, the actual root stimulation. Aloe has its own natural growth hormones called auxins, which are exactly what tells a plant to make roots. But here's the key difference. With the synthetic stuff, it's so easy to use too much and literally burn the cutting or send it into shock. Aloe, on the other hand, delivers this perfectly balanced, natural dose. It's like it gently coaxes the roots to grow, instead of trying to force them.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't just some gardening myth. It's backed by actual research. Check this out. A study on dragon fruit cuttings put a standard chemical hormone, IBA, head-to-head with aloe vera gel. And the results? They're just undeniable. The cuttings treated with aloe produced a root mass that was 2.5 times heavier. That's not just a small difference. We're talking a stronger, healthier plant that's going to get established faster and be way more productive in the long run.
Okay, Section 2, Brewing Liquid Gold, the fermented GE formula. So look, using fresh aloe gel is awesome if you're just doing a few cuttings here and there. But what if you want something really powerful, something you can store and use for your whole garden? Well, we can actually supercharge aloe's power by fermenting it into what's called a garbage enzyme, or GE. And trust me, it's like liquid gold for your plants.
So here's the recipe for this stuff. The ratio is the most important part. Think 3-1-10. That's 3 parts aloe, 1 part sugar, like molasses, and 10 parts water. So for this batch, you're going to need 3 kilograms of fresh aloe vera leaves. And yes, you use the whole leaf, skin and everything. Then 1 liter of molasses, 10 liters of clean water, and 1 200-gram packet of a probiotic starter. This just helps get the good microbes going and speeds things up. Oh, and make sure you've got a plastic container with a really tight lid.
And making it is surprisingly easy. First thing, just pour your water and molasses into the container and give it a good stir until that molasses is completely dissolved. Next, toss in your chopped up aloe vera and the probiotic starter. Give the whole thing one last stir, seal that lid on nice and tight, and slap a label on it with today's date. And that's it. Now the magic begins. Just tuck it away in a cool, dark place and let it ferment for about 15 to 20 days.
Okay, now listen up. This is a really important tip for safety.
During the first 10 days or so, that fermentation process is going to create a lot of gas. So once a day, you need to go and burp your container. Just gently unscrew the cap for a second. You'll hear a little hiss as the pressure releases, and then screw it right back on tight. Seriously, don't skip this step. It stops your container from bulging out or, even bursting.
All right, section 3, from brew to bloom, using your GE solution. So after about 20 days, your liquid gold is finally ready to go. And this is the really fun part, actually using it. Because this stuff isn't just for rooting cuttings anymore. It's a powerful tonic you can use for your entire garden, for everything from preventing diseases to rescuing plants that are really stressed out.
So here's a quick guide on how to use it. For just your regular routine care and prevention, you only need 3 milliliters of the GE for every 1 liter of water. Just spray the leaves and drench the roots every 7 to 10 days. Now, if you've got a plant that's looking a little sad or stressed, use that same 3 milliliter mix, but do it a bit more often, say every 5 to 7 days. And for a real emergency, like if you've accidentally over-fertilized, you actually use a weaker mix, just 2 milliliters per liter, but you apply it every 3 days for about 3 applications. That'll help the plant detox and recover.
Now, if you really want to take this to the next level, especially for fighting off diseases, here's a great pro tip. You can supercharge your solution. Right before you're about to apply it, take about 4 or 5 liters of your diluted aloe mix and add 10 grams of trichoderma and 10 grams of Pseudomonas. These are 2 amazing beneficial microbes, and when you add them in, you're basically creating a little army of good guys to go in and protect your plant's roots. And here's one last super simple but really important tip. Timing is everything. Always apply the solution in the cool parts of the day. So think early morning or late afternoon. This just makes sure the solution doesn't evaporate in the sun and gives the plant plenty of time to absorb all that goodness without getting stressed.
Okay, last section, pro tips for success. Know your brew. So now you know how to make it and how to use it. But let's talk about a few key things to look for. Like, how can you be sure your batch was a success? And maybe more importantly, what do you do if it wasn't?
Honestly, the best way to tell is just to use your senses. A good, successful batch is going to have a light, kind of sweet and tangy smell. Like fermented aloe. You might even see a thin white film on the surface. That's totally fine. It's a good sign. But a failed batch, oh, you'll know. It'll have a foul, rotten smell. You might see black mold, and the liquid itself will just look murky and gross. Trust me, your nose is your best guide here.
So what if your batch does fail? You get that nasty smell, and your first thought is probably to just dump it all out. But hold on. Don't throw it away. In most cases, you can totally save it, and you don't have to waste all those ingredients.
The fix is actually super simple. See, a failed batch usually just means the good microbes ran out of food before they had a chance to take over. So all you have to do is refeed them. Just add the same amount of molasses and probiotic starter that you put in at the very beginning. Give it a good stir, seal it back up, and just let it keep fermenting. 9 times out of 10, that'll get it right back on track.
This whole process really comes down to a core idea, and this quote just says it perfectly. Smart agriculture is not about rejecting science, but learning to apply the perfect biological systems that nature has refined over millions of years. It's so true. This isn't about turning our backs on science. It's about realizing that nature is the most amazing science there is. We're just learning how to work with these incredible systems instead of constantly fighting them. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Imagine what your garden could become. Just picture how much more resilient, how much more productive and just vibrant it could be if you stop trying to fight nature and instead you start partnering with it. Making and using this simple aloe vera solution, well, that's a pretty amazing first step in building that partnership.